Coming up next, Americans are working more than they did before the coronavirus, and I'll tell you what changes you can expect. We'll take your calls, your chats, and it all starts right now. I am coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. You were created to fill a unique role. You are needed. You must do it. None of that has changed. And I am going to continue to be here for you live during this downtime, helping you get ready for go time. Some of you, there's no downtime at all, because your contribution to this world through your work is needed. That's why we do what we do. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. You can also go ahead now and submit your question to the chat room there beside the video window. We'll get to your chat questions. Remember, they need to be very specific and to the point, because I can't go back and forth with you. So give me all the information you can and make it cut and dry so I can answer it. If not, call in. You can call right now. You're watching, you're listening right now. You can dial in right now. Madison is standing by. She'll get you prepared. Nothing to be nervous about. We're here to help. 844-747-2577. New data says that Americans are actually working more during COVID-19 than they did previously when they were in the office. This from The Ladders, an online magazine that I contribute to. New analysis out from NordVPN. And what it is saying is that there is additional free time because workers aren't commuting. So you think about the time to get ready early enough, get in the car, sitting in traffic, getting to the office, coming back home. There are an additional 3 hours of productivity that is now being generated by America's workers. NordVPN found that the average workday has increased by almost 40%. That's the extra 3 hours. So now Americans are working 11-hour days. More on that in a moment. Now, this is only in the United States. The UK, France, Spain, and Canada are adding 2 more hours a day. And the Netherlands have tacked on an additional hour. Daniel Markuson, who is a digital privacy expert at NordVPN, said this data revealed that employees are starting work earlier as well, but they're not finishing at the same time. This perhaps because people are not commuting, and instead of sitting in traffic, they choose to work. So it's very interesting. Do you think that that this information isn't going to make its way to America's executives? Hey, our team is more productive at home. More on that a little bit later in my predictions that I talked about at the top of the program. So what does this mean for you, the American worker? Well, this is a good thing if you're more productive. However, if you're moving to an 11-hour workday, you better make sure that you have a rhythm and routine, because you can get exhausted at home and you can overwork at home, and overworking is not always the best output. Working efficiently is important. So a couple things I just want to recommend. Make sure that you're taking breaks, even though you're at home and working at the desk at home. Walk the dogs, get outside, take a lunch, half hour or hour, whatever it is. Make sure there are breaks in your day. Set up some basic rules, whether it be your email filters, or I'm only going to look at social media once or twice a day, whatever the situation there. When you're on an actual call, or you're doing some brainstorming or some content development or strategizing or whatever, put the do not disturb on your calendar so that even remote workers say, oh, so-and-so is not available right now. These basic tips right here will keep you being productive, but not put you in a situation where you are overworking, and thus your overall productivity drops. Really interesting stuff. Keep getting after it, America. Better days are ahead. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. We'll go to the phones in a moment, but I want to read an email we got in yesterday. Joe forwarded this along to me. Heidi writes in from Canada. She says, Ken, I've been listening to your YouTube channel for several months now, and I wanted to reach out and say a big thank you for the resources that you provide and the advice that you give. I'm in Canada, but I listen to you every week when getting ready for work. I've been in a role as sales manager for some time. It was a fairly good job, but I no longer felt challenged. And in addition, I was in a toxic culture. Recently, I was passed over for a promotion, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I turned up the heat on my job search and redid my resume and cover letter using Ken's template. I had never seen this format before, and it felt very fresh to keep everything on a single page. I submitted my new resume to a highly awarded IT company in hopes of getting a new sales position. They called me back for my first interview within 2 days. Well, 2 interviews and a job offer later, I am proud to say that I have the job. Way to go, Heidi. Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. That's why we do the show. If you've got a story you want to share via email, send it to ask@kencoleman.com. Or we'd love for you to call in. Even if it's a 2-minute call, call in. Hey, I made these changes. As a result, this is where I am now. These stories of your wins really encourage the audience. Now, if you've stepped into the dream job, consider calling in and doing a dream scream. You tell your story. It encourages other people as they hear what you did, what you overcame, how long it took, how much it cost. Your story encourages others. And then we'll count you down, 3, 2, 1, and you'll scream, ideally, saying, I am living the dream. If you'd like to do that, you can call the show, leave a voicemail, 844-747-2577, or email the show, ask@kencoleman.com, and just put in their dream screen, and Madison will get with you. So we love, love, love the stories. All right, let's go to San Diego, where Amanda is standing by. Amanda, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Well, the pleasure's all mine. What's going on?
I received my PhD in biology at the end of 2018 and immediately started an academic postdoc here in San Diego. I'm currently having a hard time discerning if I'm ready to change my career trajectory or if I'm feeling like this because I'm unhappy and bored working from home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you've identified it. Let's take you back to February, shall we? Prior to the stay-at-home orders.
Okay.
Talk to me about what you were feeling back then.
I've been less and less interested in the academic side of research and more interested in industry and biotech. And honestly, I feel like I don't love research as much as I used to.
Okay. That to me is the indicator. I didn't know that's where you were going because I was trying to figure out how much of this is a funk that we've all kind of been going through that's just realistic. I've been coming in every day, but there's only 30 of us, very skeleton staff coming in that's been approved by our leaders and our governor and so forth and so on. But it's just different. I was telling somebody the other day, I just can't wait to get everybody back in the building. So I was trying to figure out, is it the funk of being at home or is there something deeper? And you just answered the question. Prior to the funk, you were starting to get real clarity that you just aren't doing the right thing. So you're in the right industry, but you're not in the right role. It's not research for you. You want to be more in the, how did you describe it? The industry side? What would that look like?
So what I really like about the biology field is the intellectual challenge and asking questions, finding creative ways to find answers. So what I've been thinking about is more like project management or just even maybe even marketing or something like that. Okay.
Interesting. Project management and marketing, but as long as you're in that biology field.
Correct.
Yeah, I think you have to listen to that. That's not something I'm going to second guess. You've put some real thought into this. So, it gets down to this, Amanda. What's great about about the sweet spot process that I teach, the get clear, which is stage 1 of my 7 stages to meaningful work, working like no one else. The first stage is get clear, and I think you are. So let's just run that future that you just described through the 3 indicators: what you do best, what you love to do most, and results that matter most, okay? So you think about what you do best, your abilities and qualities, your hard skills, soft skills. Do you have the necessary inventory to pull off what you want to do?
I think I probably could use some more training in like management and just working with other people.
Yeah, but do you have the raw skill sets? Just think of raw skill sets. Do you have what it takes, the personal qualities, the personality qualities, the character traits to win with people the way that you're going to need to?
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why you're not more confident with that. But let's talk about the hard skills. Do you have the talent, the hard skills necessary to pull off that kind of work?
Yeah, I'm very organized, very goal-oriented, like to check in, like to set short-term goals, long-term goals.
Great. So can we check that box?
Yes.
Yeah. Come on, Amanda, start to get a little bit more excited for me. All right. Let's go to box number 2, indicator number 2. What do you love to do most? The type of work that when you think about it, Amanda, you get excited about it. When you're in the middle of the work, you got the juice and time seems to disappear. You put a lot of time into it. So that's high levels of emotion and devotion. This work that you described, the roles that you described, does that check the box? High levels of emotion and devotion, yes or no?
Yes.
All right. Oh, this is good. Now we think about the results, Amanda, of the work. It's in the field of biology, and the work you're doing should have a direct connection to results that you say, I'm proud to be a part of producing these results. So can we check the box yes on this as well?
Yes.
All right, Amanda, you just got clear. You were already clear. All we did was do a little confirmation process. And so that's how that works. So Amanda, I think you listened to your heart here, and we gave it all the confirmation that I think is necessary for me to say your head's in the right place too. So your head and heart are aligned. That means, Amanda, let's start taking steps right now. Let's start looking for where you can go and do the work that you've just described. The second thing is, are there any qualifications you're going to need? And let's find out what those qualifications are. Something you need to learn or do. Let's figure that out. And then let's figure out what that's going to take. What is it going to cost you financially? And then how long will it take you? When you answer those questions, you now have a plan. Do you see that?
Okay. Yes.
All right. What's your confidence level right now?
Probably 90%.
Good. What's the 10% that we're missing still?
I think it's the fear of, am I making the right decision? Am I giving up on something that I could be really good at?
Well, we just addressed that, did we not?
Correct.
Okay, then you got to start to believe that. I think what's really going on is it's the fear of striking out into something new. I think your head is still trying to debate your heart. That's what I think. Sound right?
Okay. That sounds right.
I mean, we just walked through it. So now you got to tell your head to shut up. Your heart's got to go, hey, we've got clarity here. Let's get after it. Go, Amanda, go. You've got this. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Bethany, who's up next in Dallas, Texas. Bethany, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
Bethany, I'm living the dream. What's going on with you today?
Great. I actually have a question for my parents.
Okay.
My dad, he was a full-time firefighter, paramedic for 25 years, while also working construction part-time. In 2018, he lost his job due to a disability that wasn't sustained through work. Mm-hmm. And they took away his health insurance benefits for retirement.
Oh, my gosh.
He's currently 58 years old, so he was getting ready for retirement. His part-time job as a construction worker became his full-time job, but he just recently found out that he wouldn't be receiving health insurance benefits through them unless he worked with them for 10 consecutive years full-time as well. And just with his age, He's not really going to be able to do that job for 10 plus years. So we're just kind of finding out a way as to how to find him a new job that will provide him health insurance benefits for retirement with his age and his disability. They're also looking to relocate here to the Dallas area.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask? You don't have to tell me, but I'm just curious what his disability is and how it affects his work.
He lost his hearing. So due to that, he had to hear through the intercoms and stuff like that as a firefighter.
Yeah.
And you couldn't wear hearing aids as well underneath the equipment just due to fire hazards and stuff like that. So that was his disability, is his hearing.
Okay, so if he wears hearing aids, can he function in the construction environment?
He can't. I mean, it's hard because with the hearing aids, with some noise, it's loud.
Very
and
noisy.
You can't really hear. Very
Yeah.
noisy. He can hear some things, not all things. So
okay, all right.
It depends on the situation.
What was he doing for the construction company? What kind of work?
He's a welder. So he builds high rises. So the frames and the stairs and everything else, that's what he builds for high rises.
Interesting. Is he in a shop, or is he in that situation? They've got him up on these high rises, so it's very physically taxing.
He is up in the high rises with no walls and building the base of these high rises 40, 50, 60 stories high.
Have they let him go, or is he still working for them?
He's working for the construction company.
Okay.
Currently, but they let him go for the fire department.
Yeah, no, I knew that, but I'm just saying he's gainfully employed right now. What is he?
Yes.
What does he make?
Yes. I'm sorry?
What does he make financially?
That I'm not sure, but I know he makes a decent amount.
Okay. Well,
I can't give you an exact number.
Okay, you don't have to for this call, but you need to figure that out because here's what has to happen. We have to look at, okay, what does he need to make? Like, what's that baseline number that takes care of him? And we've got to know that because we want to look at how can he make that number in a few different ways. And I'm going to give you a few thoughts that I've got, and I'm going to try to give you some more categories to think through so that you can come away with this, because I'm actually encouraged. I think at 58, he's healthy beside his ears, correct? Besides his ears, he's got no limitations, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So you need to know the number that he needs to make, because the other option might be, and it may not be a fun option, but it is an option, and that's if he makes enough money, then he can self-insure. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not, it's not your number one option. But what we need to understand in America, Bethany, is that we're still paying for our insurance while our companies are providing benefits. I mean, we're essentially paying for that on some level, not all of it, but we're, those benefits, that's part of the deal. And so I was self-employed for a while and paid for my own benefits. And yes, it was a little bit more expensive, but I also had the benefit of working for myself. And so I was able to offset the increased costs in other ways. Okay. Mm-hmm. And as a welder, that trade is extremely valuable, especially in Dallas, Texas. If they're going to relocate to that area and you've got a support system, a network in place to really help him get acclimated. I just think if he's not up on high rises, and so that, that's a little different deal. And he's working, maybe he starts working for himself in his own shop in his garage, or he's working for somebody else on specialty projects. And he comes up with a situation where in today's world, people can text him. There's a way to overcome that hearing loss. And do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he has to stop welding, or maybe doing other things that he can do as well, taking that same skill set of welding. I'll bet there's other construction, carpentry type, or maybe some finishing work, things that he could do, and he could get into the renovation business. He could diversify out of welding, where he keeps doing some welding projects. Maybe he goes and works for a car shop. I just think there are a lot of different things you all need to be looking at. Where are all the places that a welder can be effective? And the real hurdle we have to overcome is his hearing. Okay. With the use of hearing aids and he's talking one-on-one, can he communicate back and forth if it's in a quiet place?
Yeah, he can. Yeah.
So I don't know how he's not able to do that. And then when he goes in the shop, yeah, it's going to be hard to talk to him. But when he's welding, he doesn't need to be talking to anybody. So I'm trying to encourage you that, I think that there are more opportunities than you realize for him to work for companies and do a great job. A 58-year-old welder who's been doing it that long, or he's got enough experience, and he's just way more valuable than I think you realize. And that's the encouragement I want to give to you, so you can pass on to him. And then we're just going to have to own the disability, which is, I don't even think it's a disability. I think he's just differently abled. So he's got a communication issue. That's a minor workaround. We can get around that, and I think he can get a job with benefits. But if not, I'd like to see him, Bethany, at least look to transition in the next year to two after he gets to Dallas. Could he start a side hustle and eventually have his own welding shop and some other things like that, and he's working for himself? Yeah, I think he could work another 10, 15 years easy, as long as his general health stays intact. So I'm very encouraged. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. Hey, I want to remind you, we have got the ultimate tool for you folks who aren't where you want to be in your career. You know where you want to go, but you're not quite sure how to get there, or you have an idea how to get there, but you want to be able to fast forward the timeline, or those of you that have been displaced by this coronavirus, and pretty soon I'm getting back in the job market and I need to be able to move. I need to be able to get ready for this. How do I do it? Good news. When I wrote the proximity principle, I had no idea we'd be walking into this crisis. It's going to be more valuable than it ever was. It was a #1 bestseller. I'm not hawking a book. I'm giving you a game plan, and it's going to cost you a little bit, but it's a small investment. The return on this investment is massive, but we're trying to do everything we can to give it to you at a great price, and we've done that. We talked about this prior to the crisis. We still have it at kencoleman.com/store. You can get all 3 formats: hard copy with my autograph, the e-book, so the digital version, or the audio book read to you by me. All 3 formats for $25. The hard copy itself is a $20 price point at my website. So go get it. This is a great gift for high schoolers, college kids that are graduating. This is a great gift for Mother's Day, Father's Day, the whole 9 yards. Anybody in your life that needs help to get where they want to go, this book, The Proximity Principle, which says in order to do what you want to do, you've got to be around the people that are doing it and in the places where it is happening. It's a deep dive, easy to read, action items after each chapter in the first 2 sections. So I give you the homework just like I do on the show, lead you to where you need to go. This is a great deal. Go get it. kencoleman.com/store. All right, let's go to the chat room. Lolo jumps in here, and Lolo says, I've always gotten jobs out of necessity, never out of love or like for what I'm doing. How do I find what I like or love to do and monetize it? All right, Lolo, so you must be new to the show. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to get out a piece of paper, and I want you to create 3 columns. What you do best, what you love to do most, results that matter most. The first column is talent, what you do best. Think of abilities and qualities, hard skills, soft skills. I want you to think of your top 3 to 5. Could be a combination, again, of a character trait, a personality quality, or some hard skills, things that you know you do well. Okay? Second column. What you love to do most. Think of work, a task, a function, a role that you play, that you fill in the workplace that is defined by 2 things. High levels of emotion, meaning you get excited about it when you think about it. When you're engaged in it, you love it. You got the juice, as I like to say here on the show. And then you spend a lot of time on it. You don't want to quit. So high levels of emotion, high levels of devotion. What's that work? And now, the last column, the results that matter most. Think of the work. You just detailed it out. This is the work that I really love. What is the result of that work? That work produces something. What of those things that your work produces give you great fire? You love it. It matters deeply to you. These are the 3 indicators: talent, passion, mission. Talent, what you do best. Passion, what you love to do most. Mission, the results that matter most. Get clarity there. Now, once you have clarity on those 3 things, now you see where they come together, they intersect for your sweet spot. Oh, this is the type of work right here. This is the role, ultimately, that I fill. Where is that in the marketplace? And that's how you figure it out. Let's go to Carrie Beach. She says, I lost my job due to COVID. I'm sorry, Carrie, about that. I'm really, really sorry. That angers me. I'm already connecting. How do I know what salary minimum to set? In other circumstances, I would be aiming for a pay increase, but now I feel like I can't be picky. Well, don't put yourself in a corner here. I do think you're thinking the right thing. What's my minimum? What's the floor? I can't make any less than this. I've got to have this amount in order to survive and thrive in this time. So I would set the minimum, and I think you're right. And I think you have to base that on the marketplace. So there is research that's available, certainly prior to COVID. Right now, now we're into COVID. So I would go do the research on what that job, what did it yield? And there's websites like Glassdoor and Indeed and things like that to get a good idea of what that salary or hourly looked like prior to the virus. Now, if it's a high demand situation, you might be able to get a little bit more. But to your point, you can't be super picky. So have a good idea what your floor is, and then let's just see what they offer. This isn't about negotiation. Let's just see what they offer. You don't have to go in with a price. You just say, hey, I want the work. I'm looking to do this. I'm willing to do it. Let's see what they offer. Then you respond. And if it's below the floor that you set, you got to look for something else. Or you say, okay, I'll take it, and then I'm going to go get a part-time job on top of this one, just in the short term to take me where I need to be. And so that's the approach that I would take. Let's see. John writes in, any advice for changing careers when one is too old to fit in an entry-level position? Yeah, I don't know how to answer that, because this is one of those questions that you should call in. Just be real candid here, because my gut answer is, I don't know that you're too old to fit in at entry-level position. What does your age have to do with it? If you can do the job, are you saying, well, I'm too old to take it because I don't get paid enough? Well, you know what? That's your financial reality right now. So this is too much up in the air there. This is an example of just call the show so I can have more detail and I can walk through this with you. 844-747-2577. That is the number to jump in. Okay. I'm going to get back to the phones here in just a moment. How is this coronavirus going to change the workplace for you, the American people? Okay. How's it going to do that? I got some predictions. I've been reading a lot of stuff and typed some stuff up here, some notes. So going to go through this really quickly because I think it's important for you to be aware that things are going to change. You know that. I want to give you some predictions based on what I'm seeing. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But put this under the category of this very likely could happen. The first thing is, I touched on this earlier today as we led off with the news. I think you're going to see more and more companies not just be okay with remote working from home, but actually say, this is the breakthrough we needed. We didn't see this coming. We were uncomfortable with this in the past. But what we're seeing is productivity's up, costs are down. And that is data that is very hard for any kind of leader with any sense to avoid. Now, we talked about this at the top of the program. We're already seeing a month into this that there's higher productivity, meaning more work hours due to removing the commuter experience. So when you see that and you see that they've also going to be cutting costs, there are costs that are cut by people working remotely. Think about this. What about the fact that Zoom and other companies like this, there will be competitors, there are competitors, I'm sure, they're taking off, and leaders are going to go, wait a second, we had all the meetings we needed to have with clients, with ourselves, and yeah, we normally would fly out to do this, but we just realized we got it done via video, and we didn't have to spend thousands of dollars on travel between hotel and airfare, and you start multiplying that times the amount of time you travel. I think people are going to start looking at the travel budget and go, if we cut out 50%, let's just take that number, of the meetings that we had our employees flying to and staying in hotels and eating at restaurants, that's a massive savings, which means greater profit and, for you, the American worker, greater pay. By the way, I think this is an international phenomenon too. So let's drop the American label. This hits everybody. So that's a big, big change I think you're seeing coming. Number one, more open, and I think a lot more people won't come back into the office. They'll stay home. Higher productivity, lower cost. And then let's add to it, I think you're going to see travel, business travel, greatly reduced as a cost cutter. How about colleges? I've been saying for some time before the coronavirus that I think that higher education is in big trouble if they don't adapt. Because what was happening prior to the virus is I saw a pattern of the economy changing so much and a lot of higher education's offerings not being relevant to the actual marketplace. Now, because of the explosion of online teaching and homeschooling, watch out. You're going to see more and more institutions at every level move to online teaching. Again, saves money, more efficient in some ways. And so what you're going to see is you're going to see the student go, wait a second, why am I paying top dollar to come to a campus to sit in a class when I can do the same thing online? Colleges are going to have to shift. They're going to have to shift. Here's another educational shift. I mentioned this yesterday as a guest on Dave Ramsey's radio show. I think you're going to see a lot of high schoolers, and again, this is data prior to the virus. They were saying, these are Generation Z going, we're thinking about skipping college and starting a business right out of school or getting into the workplace and then eventually starting their business. Do you know the industries that are essential right now that are largely being untouched? It's the trades. And again, prior to the coronavirus, the trades, there was high demand. Couldn't get enough people to work the trades. I think you're seeing a lot of kids looking at mom and dad lose their jobs that are non-essential, and they're going, well, these jobs, they're working over here. They're kind of recession proof. They got the benefits, getting the work done. And you take that fact, combine it with the fact they want to be more entrepreneurial, what's happening? You're going to see a lot of kids go, hey, I want to get in the trades. And that's good news for all of us because they're going to provide jobs down the line. So I'm not, saying that's 100% going to happen. I feel pretty strongly that's going to happen. You need to be aware of that and you need to pivot. And parents, you need to be okay with Johnny and Susie going, I just want to get into the trades. Who says they need the degree? Do you want them to get it just because it makes you feel better about your parenting and what you can brag on and what you can't? Or do you want a kid who's on purpose, doing the work they love, taking care of themselves, being truly stable, building a business that not only takes care of them and their family, but takes care of other families? These are really interesting shifts. There's going to be a lot of positive coming out of this thing. A lot of positive. Let's go now to Kansas City where Mandy joins us. Mandy, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken, how's it going?
Mandy, I'm living the dream. What's happening with you?
Oh, just hanging out, having a good time. So
Good.
2 months ago, I had called in, and at that time, you and I discussed making a career switch, and so I did. Everything was great, but then coronavirus came around. So now I am laid off, and I was wondering what your thoughts would be on me actually just going all in and getting to my dream job. It's probably like the worst time to do it, but I've got all this time on my hands, and
tell me more. What is it? What's the dream job?
real estate.
Real estate. Okay, so okay, great. So you want to sell homes?
Yes. I want to eventually become a home builder, but my major thing that I want to do is be a real estate agent. I'm completely obsessed since for like the past 10 years, my husband and I, that we've been together, we do every single spring and fall parade of homes. We
love it.
Study the market, just everything.
Why is this the worst time? Why do you think it's the worst time to pursue this?
Here in Kansas City, the housing market is pretty slow. And so I would be going in at one of the lower points, which could also be a huge advantage, because then when it does come back and they're selling like hotcakes again, then I can just be up and ready to go.
Yeah, you just made my point for me. I think it's the right time. You just got kicked out of the nest. The only question I have is, do you need to be making money right now, or can you all survive and move forward on your husband's income?
We found that we can survive on his income.
Oh, then I think this is a no-brainer. Mandy.
Okay, so
no-brainer.
That's what my husband, yeah.
Your husband said what?
Him and I said, let's do it. But then, of course, we love you and Dave Ramsey to death. And so we're like, let's just consult with Ken. We don't do anything without consulting you and Dave first.
Oh, that's very nice. So your husband is in agreement with me?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a good man. No, I'm serious. I'm not saying that sounded like I was saying he's a good man because he agreed with me. No, what I'm saying is he's a good dude to say, you know what, babe, I'm going to support you. We can live off of my income. It might be a little tighter, but we can do this. And I think you should get after it. That's a good dude. And this is the right time for you. The right time, because you can go all in right now on getting qualified. So you're already through stage 1 of get clear. You're in stage 2, get qualified. And so you're ready. You know what it takes. You know how long it's going to take you, how much it's going to cost you, or if you don't, you need to figure that out. But this is the time. And I would make sure that you go see my good friends, Bethany and Company. Get online with them today and look into what they do. They have training programs for beginners, and then they have coaching programs for the best of the best in real estate. I talk to those guys all the time. Brian and Dermot, they're brothers. Brian is like the Dave Ramsey of the real estate world, and they'll get you ready and they'll coach you throughout your process, and you're going to be making tons of money down the line. And so I can't be more excited to recommend them to you. And go and listen, get after it and be ready to go. And I would also tell you this, that just because people have slowed down in buying doesn't necessarily mean that the housing market has gone to the crapper. I just think it's gone a little bit quiet because certain people are a little bit scared to make a purchase decision. But remember this, interest rates are still really low.
Right.
And so I think you might be surprised. I think you could probably sell more houses than you think in the third and fourth quarter this year.
Perfect.
Money is cheap right now, you know?
Yeah.
All right, Mandy, I'm super excited about this. I want to hear back from you when you sell your first house. I want you to call in and let's celebrate. Let's I want you to share your story, how you got there. And we'll celebrate it. And if you think it's a dream screen, we'll do a dream screen. But I definitely want people to hear your story, how Mandy navigated the uncertainty of the coronavirus and stepped into her dream job. That's going to be fun. I want to hear that. You down for that?
Awesome. Thanks, Ken. Yes.
All right. Well, tell your husband I said hello and appreciate you both listening to the program. That's why we do what we do right there, Joseph. That's why we do what we do. Well, my time is almost up. But before I let you go, I want you to know that you matter. You have what it takes. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.